34. Discourse on the path of merits, Kuala, and demerits, Akasala. Devotees, let me continue my discourse on Kasala, merits, and Akasala, demerits. It is very important to know clearly about the wholesome meritorious mind, Kasala Chitta, and unwholesome demeritorious mind, Akasala Chitta. I shall discern this with an analogy. A person on a sand beach in the hot summer is certainly hot, isn't he? Yes. It's hot, Venerable Sir. Compared to him, don't you think someone living in the shade of a house or a building or a tree would be cooler? Yes, it would be cooler, Venerable Sir. But wouldn't someone living in the shelter of relatives be even cooler, more peaceful and protected than the shade? Yes, indeed, Venerable Sir. Then, how about living in the shelter provided by one's parents? Wouldn't that be much cooler and more secured? Yes, it would be much safer, Venerable Sir. Yes, indeed. But the sanctuary and refuge provided by the three gems, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, are far cooler and much more peaceful when compared to the shelter and shield of one's parents. So, by taking the shelter of these three gems, you employ the 5 strengths, powers, bala, namely, the power of faith, conviction, sada bala, the power of perseverance, effort, virya bala, the power of mindfulness, sati bala, the power of concentration, samadhi bala, and the power of insight knowledge, panna bala. With these 5 powers, bala, in hand, you take up the threefold training, sikha, of morality, sila, concentration, samadhi, and insight knowledge, panna. When they get fully developed, you come to apprehend the phenomena of mind, concomitants of mind, matter, chitta cetasika rupa, in the endless process of arising and disintegrating. You begin to discern that elements which happens here and now are never the same as those which follows, always in a flux, constantly changing from moment to moment. You come to realize and take this nature of impermanence as unpleasant, unsatisfactory, as suffering, dukkha. You search for the true cause of this suffering and found it to be craving, tanha samudaya. Thereupon, with this realization, magga gnana, path knowledge, cuts off the inherent mental defilements, anusaya, breaking the chain of cause and effect. The cause is broken, thus no more resultant effect is produced. This is nirodha, cessation of all sufferings. Well then, that is the realization of the 4 noble truths occurring simultaneously. Arya Saka. Isn't that so? Yes indeed, Venerable Sir. All these are the benefits of your own meritorious thoughts and deeds which neither your parents nor your relatives can provide for you. Only you alone can make these supreme dharma happen by cultivating and refining your meritorious mind, and by relentlessly developing it with your meditation practice you can attain the first path of enlightenment, Satapati Magga, stream winner knowledge, culminating in the final path of Arahata Magga, Arahatship. All these deeds are known as meritorious dharma, Kasala dharma. Demeritorious mind, Akasala Chitta. It means thinking of unwholesome, evil wicked things over and over again. Say supposing, in mundane world, if you kill your enemy by stabbing him with a knife or smashing him with a rod, you can kill him only this life. You cannot follow him to his next life to kill him. But when a thief procreates another thief, literally by way of his eyes, his ears, his tongue, his body, which means procreating successive wicked immoral thoughts that arise through the 5 sense doors as we are always in contact and fed with the 5 sense objects, the chain family of successional offspring thieves, meaning the repetitive successive immoral demeritorious mind would certainly lead you to just one terminus, the 4 miserable realms, the apaya. The Manau Maya ruby, 91, from Mount Vebula. Continuation of the previous discourse. I've been telling you not to tread back to your native village, the place where you come from, like Kotoke Kai in the previous story. You should endeavor to reach the top of Mount Vewala where there are precious rubies and gems. To get there is not easy at all. You have to pass through 3 big forests which are guarded by 3 monster ogres, 92. Those who reach to the top of Mount Vebula are indeed very rare. Of those who did get to the mountain, some only picked up worthless flint stones or gravel instead of searching for valuable gems and rubies. Some passed away their time having fun and be merry along the way, singing and whistling before going back to places where they come from. But a few did strive, dig and endeavor until they were able to get the priceless Manau Maya ruby of Mount Vebula. The analogy. Mount Vebula represents Buddha's teaching, sasana, which basically and essentially constitutes of morality, sila, concentration, samadhi, and insight knowledge, panna. The 3 monster ogres depict greed, lobha, hatred, dosa, and delusion, moha. The 3 forests stand for the 3 spheres of sentient beings' existence, namely, sensuous sphere, Kamaloka, fine material sphere, Rupaloka, and non-material sphere, Arupaloka. Those who waste time having fun whistling, singing and dancing away exemplify those fun-loving purposeless people with no worthy objectives heading back to their native village, the place where they come from, i.e. the 4 miserable realms, apaya. Those who pick up just the flint stones and gravel typify those people who collect merits with wholesome meritorious deeds that support and generate further rounds of rebirth. Only the priceless wish-fulfilling Manau Maya ruby represents Nibbana, where all sufferings cease to exist, and which could be attained by arduous diligent Vipassana practice. So, while the practical aspect of Buddha's teaching, i.e. Patipatti Sasana, Vipassana practice, is still thriving and within your reach, take care not to lose this supreme opportunity. Try to overcome the 3 monster ogres depicting greed, hatred, and delusion, lobha, dosa and moha, which govern and direct the 3 spheres, loka, 93, of sentient beings' existence represented by the 3 forests which you have to override as well. By utilizing the 5 powers, faith, perseverance, mindfulness, concentration, insight, you must endeavor to do your best in Vipassana practice to reach Nibbana. Method of Vipassana Meditation, as taught by the Venerable Sunlun Gu Kyung Sayadaw. Q. Devotees, don't you think it is a suffering to be drifting away in the sea of samsara? A. Yes indeed, it truly is a suffering, Venerable Sir. Q. If you consider it as a suffering, don't you want happiness and peace? A. Yes, of course, Venerable Sir, we would very much like to have happiness and peace. If you want happiness, you shall have to kill both your mother and father, so to speak. Moreover, you also have to eliminate the 2 rulers who rule the kingdom as well as the 12 secret agents. For the parents, because they have given and done so much for you, they cannot be finished off with one time. You have to kill 4 times. The mother and father mean tanha, craving, and mana, conceit. The 2 rulers stand for 1. Sasata Ditti, 94, eternalism, the wrong view of eternity of the soul, and 2. Akeda Ditti, 95, annihilationism, the wrong view of annihilation of the soul. The 12 secret agents represent the 12 ayatana, 96, comprising of 6 sense bases, somatic organs, ajatika, and the corresponding 6 sense objects, external bases, bahida. If you want happiness, you should emulate King Chandragupta, Chandragupta II, 97, famed for his military strategy in defeating the enemy. To begin with, you purge the 12 secret agents, ayatanas, bases, dealing with the external 6 sense objects, first. Here is how to do it. First, you pay homage to the Buddha, take the precepts and offer yourself, i.e. your body and mind, which are comprised of the 5 aggregates, khandha, to the Buddha for the duration of your meditation period for the goal of attaining nibbana. Moreover, offer yourself, i.e. your body and mind, which are the 5 aggregates, khandha, to Sunlun Gu Kyong Sayadaw, the founding father of this meditation for the time span of your meditation period for attainment of nibbana. Then send out your loving kindness, metta, and share your merits with all sentient beings in the 31 states of samsara. Don't fix or limit your duration of practice. Try to meditate as much and as long as you can. Choose a posture that you can maintain for a long time without shifting. The object of your meditation is on the touch of in-breath and out-breath through the nostrils. To get your mind focused on that point of touch of breath only and not to let it wander elsewhere, close your eyes and breathe strongly, putting in effort so that you would know each and every breath that goes out and comes in at the nostril tip. That way, thoughts, apart from the awareness of touch of breath, would not come in. When the air touches at the nostril tip, body door, you are aware of the touch. Put mindfulness on this awareness. These 3 incidents, touch awareness mindfulness, should occur simultaneously. While you are meditating this way, your eyes do not look here or there. Your ears do not listen to this or that. Your nose does not smell anything. Your mouth does not want to eat this food or that. Your body does not want to go anywhere. By staying that way, your eye faculty, ear faculty, nose faculty, tongue faculty and body faculty, in fact, all 5 faculties are well guarded. This is true morality, Indriya Samvara Sila, i.e. purity of morality by virtue of restraining the 6 sense faculties. Indriya means in control, in restraint, and Samvara means refraining, so that the mental defilements, greed, hatred and delusion, lobha, dosa and moha, do not enter your mind. It is extremely difficult to acquire this pure morality by restraining sense faculties, Indriya Samvara Sila, if one is not in the state of meditating process. With diligent practice on the strong breathing with deep mindfulness, your mind would not wander to things that you normally pay attention to. Instead, the mind stays concentrated and collected at the nostril tip, body door, taking things as they are. Variegated colors of white, red, yellow, blue, and colors of stars, moon, sun, pearl, etc. or other conceptual objects may appear before you. Though exceedingly attractive to be immersed in, those objects are not the things that you should focus or follow. You have to get your mind back to your body where the object of meditation is. These are common incidents that a meditator, yogi, usually encounter along the course of his practice and do not signify real progress. In fact, they are one of the 10 traps, dangers, upakalesa, of Vipassana practice, as the astonishing, sometimes exhilarating, experience might lead the yogi astray into thinking that he had achieved higher spiritual levels. The state of not letting your mind go anywhere but stay focused only at the nostril tip, body door, where it is deeply mindful of the awareness of touch, means the 6 external secret agents, which portray the 6 sense objects, external bases, Bahidra Ayatana, are said to have been killed off. After several diligent practice with mindfulness, awareness of various sensations in the body, sensations of heat, cold, cramps, pain, etc. appears. When you are aware of heat sensation, just be mindful of this awareness of heat. The heat sensation and the awareness of this heat sensation will eventually end simultaneously. When you are aware of pain sensation, simply be mindful of the awareness of this pain. If the mind is totally concentrated, the pain and the awareness of this pain will eventually tapers off and disappear simultaneously. The same is true of each and every individual sensation. The nature of heat sensation does not follow the nature and course of cold sensation, and vice versa. Each has its own distinct individual characteristics and follow its own course. These sensations may arise in any parts of the body. The body means the body as a whole. You must not note it as separate particular parts like my leg, my arm, etc. You should not have connotation of me or mine, leg or arm. When a sensation arises, you will be aware of it and you simply keep mindful of that sensation as and when the sensation arises. That state of awareness together with concurrent mindfulness on the sensation is called Samasana Nana, 98. By striving on to practice the mindfulness of bodily sensations again and again, your concentration power, samadhi, develops to such a higher level that you come to see the processes that is happening in the body as they are in their true form, the phenomena of mind and matter in a continual process of changing, samsati. You exert the 5 powers, bala, which are your supreme strength in faith, saddha, effort, virya, mindfulness, sati, concentration, samadhi, and insight knowledge, panna. With these in hand, you try even harder in your attempt, and eventually, your concentration power, samadhi, will escalate even further. At one time, you may experience a bright illumination in your body, and you may see your own body as if reflected in a mirror. You may vividly see your internal organs functioning, in part or as a whole. You may also see your skin in deterioration, bruised or peeling off, or like blisters erupting, or as if some tiny dots like pearls flaring out, or like raindrops falling. Meanwhile, with further practice on mindfulness of bodily sensations in the process of arising and vanishing phenomena, concentration power grows even stronger and becomes solid. When Udaya Bhaya Nana, 99, insight concerning the arising and perishing away of conditioned things, i.e. mind and matter, strengthens, perception of sensation in conventional terms, Vedana, Sana, transcends to perception of sensation in ultimate terms, Vedana Panna. There, you experience on your body, sparks in arrays at the skin pores, like fire sparks emitting when flint and flintstone are stricken. Furthermore, you come to see the elements of mind, concomitants of mind, matter, sita cetasika rupa, in the process of building up and breaking down in truly conspicuous terms. On reaching this stage, you come to understand that you have in fact no legs, nor arms, nor any bodily parts. In truth, there are only ultimate elements, mind and matter in their natural phenomena. The perception, the name-calling, the conceptualization such as man, woman, celestial, Brahman, human, animal. These are all because you have not apprehended the real. When insight shows you the reality, the yogi comes to understand the nature's elements in true terms. He felt much assured with his discovery, making his conviction and reverence in the 3 gems even more firm and solid. Only at this stage, you get to the point where the 6 internal secret agents which represent the 6 sense bases, ajatika, are killed off. From then on, you discard the false view of eternalism, sasataditi, and the false view of annihilationism, akadaditi, but their roots have not been cut off yet. The state of clear, pure calmness and collectedness while you are contemplating with mindfulness on sensation is morality, sila. The one-pointedness of mind leading to the illumination of light is concentration, samadhi. The analyzing and realization of mind-matter phenomena in its true nature of mind concomitants of mind-matter is insight knowledge, panna. Thus you are complete with threefold training, sikha, morality, sila, concentration, samadhi, and insight, panna. But at this stage, they are just mundane morality, mundane concentration and mundane insight. The Venerable Sunlun Sayadaw further explained in terms of visuddhi. When you are observing sensation with mindfulness, your 5 sense faculties, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, are in control, which means your morality is pure. That is purity of morality, sila visuddhi. Because your mind is totally focused and concentrated on the sensation, the mind is pure. That is purity of mind, chitta visuddhi. Morality is pure, the mind is pure, so you see things as they really are. If you ask, what do you mean by seeing things as they really are? It is like this. You come to see the process of bodily sensations as sparks of fire that appear at the skin pores, like when flint and flintstone are stricken. Watching thus, you come to realize that you have, in true fact, no legs nor arms nor body. The body is nowhere to be seen or felt, no sense of I, no connotation of me, or mine. This is purity of view, ditthi visuddhi. On having this purity of view, you felt deeply convinced and assured of Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Your faith, reverence and conviction become unshakable. The wrong view has been rectified and doubts have been removed. And that is purity by overcoming doubt, kanka vitarana visuddhi. With earnest and diligent practice, your insight knowledge transcends from perception of sensation in conventional terms, vedana, sana, to perception of sensation in ultimate terms, vedana, panna. You come to experience things that you have never experienced before. A bright aura which is strikingly pure, clear, and attractive appears before you together with deep calmness and peace. This experience is not to be happy about or cherished. Don't get engrossed in it. Attaching and savoring in this fascinating experience is actually getting yourself immersed in the 10 perils, dangers, upakalesa, of Vipassana. You actually have to work very hard in your practice to get to this level. This is just one incident that you will come across in the course of your path progress. The attraction, immersion and attachment in the exuberant colors, the bright aura, illumination, the deep tranquility and such unusual events is called nikanti. Sufficient effort, jivana, comes forth to abandon these attractions. The mind becoming more stable, firm and steadfast. Advertence at the mind door, manadvaravajana chitta, arises, i.e. your mind door adverting consciousness determines the way, and subsequently, you arrive at Sankha Rupaka Nana, 100, i.e. the state of equanimity, a totally balanced composed state of mind in observing the true nature of mind-matter phenomena which is manifested as the physical and mental sensations, be they hot, cold, painful or pleasant. The feeling of indifference, upaka, is fostered by the balance of the mind or equanimity, tatra marjitata. Sankha Rupaka Nana is comprised of the 3 preliminary impulsions, jivana, 101, or conscious moments, Vipassana Chitas. They are namely, Parikama, preparation of Magga, Upakara, proximity of Magga, and Anuloma, adaptation or connection. It harmonizes the lower chitas, consciousness with the higher chitas. These three impulsions clear off the mental defilements. Thereupon, Gotrabu, consciousness lets you perceives Nibbana. Following that signal of Nibbana and leaning on and taking support from this vision of Nibbana pointed out by Gotrabu, Magga Nana, path knowledge, arises in a flash and eliminates the latent mental defilements, Anusaya Kalesa, totally. Only with that elimination, one is said to have completely killed the two rulers which stand for the two wrong views. Sasata Ditti, eternalism view, and Akada Ditti, annihilationism view. Craving, Tanha, and conceit, Mana, exert too much impact and influence on a person's life. Having profound effect upon you like parents, these two mental defilements cannot be uprooted at one go. They need 4 times of killing to be totally eliminated. If you want to do, just go ahead and eliminate them. Continuation of the discourse with a story on the tortoise. Let me continue the discourse with a story. Say, there was a man who had just recovered from an illness. While recuperating, he felt like eating meat but he had no money to buy. One day, while walking along the riverside, he saw a huge tortoise. Wow, that's great. I'd better catch this tortoise for my meal, thought the man with glee. So he walked into the river. As he was still weak in his convalescence, he couldn't put much effort in catching the tortoise. He tried to pull it, but the tortoise resisted and tried to swim away. Hence, the man was being dragged into the river by the tortoise while pulling it. First, he was only up to his ankles in the water, but gradually he was dragged further till the water got to his knees, then to his thighs, then to his chest, until finally, he was deep in the river up to his mouth. Only then he gave up, letting the tortoise go, saying rather shamefacedly, "Hey you tortoise. I will let you go this once, but you must let me go 10 more times when my turn comes." The story applies to the yogis. When people come to meditate here, we don't want to let you go. We would very much want you to persevere till the very end. But like the man who cannot hold on to the tortoise, we cannot do anything but let you go if you are adamant on abandoning the practice. Watching people drifting in the sea of samsara, I couldn't help feeling awfully sorry for them. I try to pull them out from that sea of samsara if they are within my hand's reach, throwing out ropes or bamboo poles for those farther away for rescue. Even so, if they don't take the trouble to reach out for my hand, or to take hold of the rope or bamboo pole, then it's entirely up to them to deal with their karma. They'll just have to grin and bear it. Continuation of the discourse with a story on the two friends. Now, let me end my discourse with another story as a reminder. There were two friends traveling together. Both of them were hard up and becoming hungry but penniless. One friend make a suggestion to the other, "My friend, let's feed each other with our thoughts and eat with our imagination." "Okay. Fine. You treat me first." So, the other said, "All right, I'm going to feed you with chicken curry. Here it is. Go ahead and eat your heart out." "Ah, this is really delectable," remarked his friend. The friend continued serving with an imagined banquet made up of pork curry, grilled chicken, etc. After a series of dishes, he said, "I'm sure you are full. Now, it's my turn. Here comes fried elephant leg. Savor it," served his friend. This is delicious. Can I have some more? But you still have a lot left. This is fried elephant leg, you know. Finish it first, said his friend. Like in the story, I'm going to feed you with fried elephant leg. When there is touch, there is awareness. Be mindful of that awareness. If these three components, touch, awareness, mindfulness, are occurring simultaneously, you are endowed with Vipassana Nana, the insight knowledge of the three characteristics of life, namely, impermanence, anicca, suffering, dukkha, and non-self, anatta. The Buddha and the noble ones, Aryas, always maintain this Vipassana Nana insight with them until they pass into Parinibbana. Devotees, my advice to you is, try your best to eat and savor the big delicious piece of meat I'm lavishing out to you all. Don't give any excuses, toothache or whatever, to avoid eating it. It is for your own good. So go ahead and munch it. The Story of Balloon Bird. 102. The Oriental Skylark. Once upon a time, there lived an Oriental skylark in a forest. She had a son, a little bird. One day, she told him, "Son, I'm going to look for food. Do listen to what your mother has to say. For your own safety, you must not leave this dried mud crust formed by an ox's hoof print." After repeatedly warning her son not to get out from the protected basin, she flew away to search for food. Meanwhile, the little bird got restless and ventured out to play. A big eagle flew by, saw the little bird, swooped down upon him and carried him away. The little bird, caught in the eagle's claws, said defiantly, "Because I didn't pay heed to my mother's warning, I was preyed upon by this eagle. If only I had taken my mother's advice, I would be safe and sound." The eagle heard and retorted, Well, how come you could boast like that? What was your mother's advice?" "My mother repeatedly warned me to stay inside the mud crust of an ox's hoof print and not to leave there." "All right. I will take you back to your place. Let's see whether you can hide from me." "Okay. Just get me back to my place," replied the little bird. After the eagle had dropped him into the mud crust formed by an ox's hoof print, the little bird challenged, "Hey you eagle. Can you get me now?" The provoked eagle got angry and flew down in a lightning speed to the ground to swoop upon the little bird, but alas, the sharp spike of the mud crust pierced his chest and the eagle died on the spot. The moral of the story is, the mother skylark is like the faculty of wisdom, Panadria Cetasika, 103. The mud crust formed by the ox's hoof print is like the body. The little bird portrays the mind. The eagle represents the five sense objects, namely, visible objects, Rupa Ramana, sounds, Sada Ramana, smells, Gandha Ramana, tastes, Rasa Ramana, and tangible objects, Fothaba Ramana. They are those that eyes, ears, nose, tongue and body feast on. The simile of the story is, you must heed that contact, touch, phassa, is the condition, the cause, for feeling, sensation to arise. Phassa pakaya vedana, contact is the condition, cause for the arising of feeling, sensation. Vedana, pakaya tana feeling, sensation is the condition, cause for the arising of craving. But you must keep Vedana, pakaya vedana, and shouldn't go forward to tanha, craving, i.e. to keep feeling, sensation in check and not to let that be the condition or cause for craving to arise. Like the little bird in the story, if you venture out for craving, tanha, you will become the eagle's prey. Listen to the mother, Panadriya Setasika, and follow her advice. Just keep your mind in the body and don't dare venture out to gratify your senses. (37) Discourse on the 5 enemies. The devotees ask the Venerable Sayadaw to discern on the 5 enemies, and the following was how he interpreted on the subject in his discourse. You all know the conventional so-called 5 enemies, as water, fire, the ruler, the thief and the hated one, don't you? Yes, Venerable Sir. But these are just external enemies. They can cause you pain only for one life. The 5 enemies that I am going to tell you are internal ones. They cause you pain, distress and misery not only in one life, but all throughout the innumerable existences in the course of samsara, rounds of birth, day in and day without interruption. Water, as an enemy, means the endless flow of your thoughts. Mind never ceases to think. Thoughts drifted incessantly from one sense object to another like the flow of water, giving rise to kamic deeds and resultants, cause and effect, generating the unbroken chain of life cycles, samsara. Because of its effective powerful hindrance in one's path to nibbana, thoughts are regarded as an enemy. Fire. It is meant by the fire of greed, hatred and delusion, lobha, dosa, moha. The burning passion of these emotions are so explosive as to fuel and destroy sentient beings continuously and relentlessly throughout the samsara, and hence considered as a formidable enemy. The rulers, as you know, are those who govern countries and their subjects and who bring justice to anyone who breaks the law. They can impose penalty of varying degrees, from imprisonment to even death sentence according to the crime one commits. The rulers that I will expound are these 4 dharmas which influence and condition the body and mind. Karma, volitional deeds, kama, mind, chitta, temperature, utu, and nutriment, ahara. These rulers are extremely just and they act without any bias or prejudice. They are there throughout the whole samsara ready to inflict harm, sickness or death either individually, e.g. death due to bad karma, or sickness due to improper nutriment, etc., or in combination. Sometimes, when either one of kama, chitta, utu, ahara, or in conjunction act adversely upon one, the suffering is in enormity. That is why they are also reckoned as fearful enemies. The thieves. The thieves here are meant by stealing with eyes, stealing with ears, stealing with nose, stealing with tongue, stealing with body and stealing with thoughts, meaning when contact occurs between sense bases and sense objects, e.g., eye with visible object, ear with sound, there arises feeling, sensation giving rise to craving, tanha, and so on. These stealing are for gratification of the 6 senses, for which a person may go to unbelievable enormous lengths to commit unwholesome evil deeds. As these particular thieves have been with us together for infinite length of samsara, they must be accounted as treacherous enemies. That is why I always exhort to avoid the 3 wants. Avoid wanting to see, wanting to hear, wanting to know. For if you want to see, if you want to hear, if you want to know, they will propel us to do appalling things and you'll be immersed in samsara for a long, long time with nowhere in sight of its end. The hated ones, devotees, do you want to go through aging, jara, disease, bayadi, and death, Marana. No, we don't want, Venerable Sir. Well, the truth is, once there is birth, jati, aging, disease and death inevitably follow. Do you love old age, disease and death, jara, bayadi, marana, then? No, we don't, Venerable Sir. Well, though you do not love them, once you are born, jati, you have to face and live with them whether you love them or not, as you don't know when in the innumerable rounds of birth, samsara, you have been in association with them. That is why the Buddha had exhorted, apiyehi sampayogo dukkho, meaning, to be associated with those you do not love is suffering. So, although you do not love or like them, you are being associated with aging, disease and death, jara, bayadi, marana. As such, these detested entities are also deemed as direful enemies. These are what I termed as the 5 enemies. Discourse on the cycle of samsara and its annihilation. 1. Because of ignorance, avijja, craving, tanha, arises. Because of craving, tanha, clinging, attachment, obsession, upadana, arises. Because of clinging, attachment, obsession, upadana, you strive to get it, things, rebirth. And when you do get it, i.e. rebirth, you suffer from the consequences, dukkha. 2. Unpleasantness, dukkha, is the truth to be discerned. Pleasantness, sukha, will set you adrift in the sea of samsara. Not knowing, the truth, is ignorance, avijja, a delusion, moha. Greed, desire, lobha, is craving, tanha. Clinging, attachment, obsession is upadana. Because of ignorance, you crave for things and higher life and become obsessed with them, wishing and wanting to become a man, celestial, Brahman, or rich man, all striving to get the best of the best worlds. Because of craving and obsession for riches, for life itself, you aim, you wish, and you tirelessly work for it. And consequently what you get is what you pursue, which is birth, jati, of course. And once there is birth, jati, you inevitably grow old though you don't like it. You certainly encounter illness, sickness, disease though you abhor it. You inevitably die one day though you detest it. Thus, birth, jati, is the culprit, the villain, the precursor of all suffering, dukkha. Birth invariably leads to suffering. If you wish for birth again, go ahead and be prepared to bear all the consequential suffering. Let's say, you tell me, oh, we now realize we've gone through sufferings upon sufferings in samsara. We don't want to suffer anymore. If that is so, this is what I will tell you. You must cultivate morality, sila, concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, panna, known as the 3 noble training, sikha. Have reverence and total conviction in Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, the 3 gems, and work for your own liberation from samsara through diligent practice of Vipassana meditation. When you meditate, unpleasant sensations appear in the body by virtue of your samadhi, concentration. You contemplate on them with deep mindfulness and find they are not easy to endure. The fact is, unpleasantness is the truth to be discerned. Pleasantness will set you adrift in the sea of samsara. Sensations, vedana, that appear in your body are actually the repercussions of your past deeds, the resultants of your past karma, illustrating the phenomena of cause and effect. It is an embodiment of the noble truth of suffering, dukkha sakha. On observing this truth of suffering with Vipassana insight, panna, i.e., being mindful of the unpleasant bodily sensations, you find it very unbearable. So you give up or shift your position to ease off the pain. Unpleasantness disappears thus and pleasantness ensues. But pleasantness, sukha, is not conducive to discover the truth, so you will not gain true insight, nana. For want of insight, you do not see the truth as it really is, so there will be rebirths, because you still crave for them. And therefore, you will go on drifting perpetually in the whirlpool of samsara with untold sufferings in your further existences. But mobilizing the 5 powers, strengths, bala, in hand, you overcome the unpleasant sensations which exemplify the truth of suffering. For the first time in samsara, you come to perceive the body-mind complex, their 5 aggregates, khandhas, the volitional activities, sankhara, all the dharma, the truth, that you have never known or seen before. You come to discern the phenomena of mind, concomitants of mind, matter, chitta, cetasika, rupa, in its true form, that processes are happening and passing away, going on their own course, and on which you have no control. After this experience, you begin to discard gradually, to a certain extent, the wrong views which have been ingrained in you throughout the samsara, thereby getting some measure of peace of mind. You come to understand then, why Aryas and sages of old had dreaded this dire ocean of samsara. They had earnestly embraced Vipassana practice for true insight and true peace and had obtained the knowledge of seeing things as they truly are, yatha bhuta nana. They had abhorred the suffering, dukkha, of samsara and so had abstained from doing things that would act as fuel for perpetuation in samsara. Because they did not crave for further existences, they did not do kamich deeds that would result in rebirths. As there were no further karmic causes, there were no further resultant births, and so perfect happiness ensues. The same goes for us as well. Let us follow their example. Let us emulate and strive for true insight, panna, which will empower us to refrain from doing things that will fuel the continuation of life cycles. If only we could comprehend the trueness of misery, wretchedness, unpleasantness of life itself, we would withhold doing any kamich deeds that would foster further existences. If you do not gather any more of these kamich deeds, then there will be no fresher kama for more rebirths, and so no more sufferings. Thus everlasting peace and happiness is the final outcome. It is entirely up to you to choose which path you wish to choose. 1. Perception, sana. Camouflage what is seen. Unveil the perception, to see what truly lies beneath. 2. Perception, sana. Deludes what is seen. Unless perception is unraveled, delusion won't be exposed. Perception, sana. Camouflage what is seen, means, when the eyes look at something, they only see what the object is. They don't discern or decide, perceive, whether an object or a person is beautiful and desirable. It is the mind, the perception part of the mind, sana khandha, which is one of the 4 mental aggregates, that forms a notion that it is so, i.e., perceiving whether an object or a person is beautiful and desirable. Because the perception aspect of the mind, sana khandha, covers and camouflage the truth beneath, there arise the attachment, the crave to possess. When you have attained considerable insight, panna, you are able to discern the real truth, that this object, which the eyes see, is nothing, but molecules added up, that there is nothing to crave for, nor to get attached. True insight, panna, decides. The eyes only see, taking it as beautiful and desirable are what perception made it up to be. Because of your ability in seeing things as they really are in its true form, you don't crave for it anymore. This lack of crave is because you had unveiled and straightened out the wrong perception, sana, and hence delusion was exposed. The analogy. In some way, it is like the man who raises poultry. When a hen lays eggs, he takes those eggs and replaces them with duck's eggs. The naive hen thinks they were hers, so she sits and lays on them for hatching. In time, the young ducklings hatch from the eggs. The mother hen, still thinking, wrongly, they were her chickens, feeds and looks after the ducklings. The ducklings grew up and one day go into the water, which is their habitat, and swim away as is their nature. The foster mother hen cannot swim, so she runs about on the riverbank, calling out in frustration, "Come back, my children. Come back!" But it is in vain. Her despair and grief are all because of wrong perception of the truth, putting the confused hen under the spell of delusion, making her think the ducklings are hers and hers alone. The poultryman is like sana, perception. He deceives the hen by taking her eggs and replacing them with duck's eggs. The hen is like lobha, greed. She is under the delusion, because of the poultryman's deceit, that the eggs are her children, gets attached and looks after the ducklings, not realizing, nor even caring, that it is indeed a tedious burden full of unpleasantness. The ducklings are like paramatter, ultimate reality, the natural phenomena, where sequence of events occur on its own course, over which no one has absolute control. Even though the heartbroken mother hen calls out dolefully to which she thinks are her kids, the ducklings may or may not come back to her. Like reality, no one has complete control over them. The mother hen suffers deeply, all because of her inability to unravel the truth from false. That is why perception, sana, camouflages and deceives what it really is. If the disguise is not unmasked, the underlying truth will never be revealed. So, whenever you see, hear, taste, smell, touch, you employ mindfulness at the body touch, because it is the most tangible. With diligent practice, wrong perception, sana, will be exposed and reality, paramatta, will emerge as you have never known existed. This reality is the ultimate truth, paramatta, the nature of which is the continual succession of arising and perishing away, the building up and breaking down, which in scientific terms is known as metabolism. The anabolism and catabolism. These processes are never the same. What happens the instant before is entirely different from the present instant, and so is the present here and now unlike that of the future instant. Impermanence, the constant change, is the truth of nature, and you have no control over the law of nature. It takes its own course. It is merely a phenomenon. Once you truly realize the facts in absolute terms, you are enlightened. That is unraveling of the delusion caused by perception, sana. Then on, with much satisfaction and unshakable faith, these words will become deeply meaningful. Perception, sana, disguises what is seen. Unravel it to see what truly lies beneath. Eluding the truth, embracing the false. That's the habit of the blind, unenlightened, pathujana. The Venerable U Lokanatha's visit and his obeisance to Sunlun Sayadaw. In the year 1951, ME 1313, the Venerable U Lokanatha, the famed Buddhist monk of Italian nationality, came to Myanmar from India with the Indian official delegation which had brought the relics of Shin Sariputta and Shin Moggallana, the two chief disciples of the exalted Gautama Buddha. U Lokanatha came to Myanmar to pay respects to Sunlun Sayadaw with the intention to inquire about the Sayadaw's reputed arahatship. U Lokanatha was so very much taken in on meeting the Sayadaw that he paid obeisance with fivefold manners of contact, panka patithita, in reverence. He then supplicated the Venerable Sayadaw to discern him of true Buddha, true Dharma and true Sangha. Sunlun Sayadaw gave a discourse on the subject as follows. Our exalted Buddha was born in Majjhima Desa, the middle region, in what is now the Indian continent, over 2,000 years ago, in 623 BC, as Prince Siddhartha Kumara. At the age of 29, he renounced his wife, newborn son, parents, palaces, and all his worldly possessions in search of truth. He wandered from one forest to another, living the life of an ascetic. He studied under, one after another, of the two top spiritual ascetic masters, Alara and Udaka, of the day, but still could not discover what he was looking for. He then set out on his own, searching for the path to overcome permanently the ills of life. Finally, one day, on the eve of the full moon day of Kaswan, 104, he sat down to meditate cross-legged on a Parahita palanka, 105, the throne formed from the grass, under the Bodhi tree near Neranjara river, resolving to strive for the ultimate truth. He steadfastly kept mindfulness of the touch of in-breath, out-breath at the tip of the nostril, anapanasati. With intense concentration, samadhi, thus gained, he contemplated on his whole body, and first saw the illuminating light. Then, he discovered the body-mind phenomena within him, the arising and perishing of physical and mental elements in a continuously changing manner, discerning him of the three characteristics of life, tilakkhana: impermanence, unpleasantness and selflessness, anicca, dukkha, anatta. Ignorance was dispelled and wisdom arose. Darkness vanished and light arose. Doors opened and enlightenment attained. If you were to ask where those cardinal doors exist, I would say it is located in the head. The cardinal doors are the 6 sense doors. The doors of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. This opening of the 6 doors in him is known as Buddha, meaning the opening, the awakening, the enlightenment. By virtue of this enlightenment, he realized the 4 noble truths, Ariya Sakka, for 4 times. These 4 noble truths are in fact called true Dharma. Flashes of path insight, Magganana, occur at the realization point of the 4 noble truths. This realization occurs 4 times, each time followed immediately by fruition of Magga called Phala. The Ariya Samgas, the community of bhikkhus who had attained the 4 Maggas and 4 Phala, are collectively called true Samga. And this in brief is what is meant by true Buddha, true Dharma, true Sangha. Sunlun Sayadaw then went on to expound the Dharmakaka, the first and foremost sermon delivered by the Buddha. After listening to the discourse, the Venerable U Lokanatha felt deeply convinced and humbled. He remarked sincerely, "To meet you, Venerable Sir, is like meeting my own parents and siblings. Would there be any opportunity for me to see you again?" "No, you wouldn't," replied the Venerable Sayadaw. Venerable U Lokanatha asked why. "You are an aspirant for Buddhahood. As such, you are a courageous warrior. I'm not brave nor ambitious like you, so you won't see me again," replied Sunlun Sayadaw. What Sunlun Sayadaw meant was that he had already attained arahatship and hence would pass into parinibbana after this life. He would never be reborn again. But for the Venerable U Lokanatha, as he had aspired for Buddhahood, Sammasambuddha, he must fulfill the 10 paramis, past perfections, in innumerable life cycles to achieve his goal of attaining Buddhahood. The Venerable U Lokanatha offered a set of 3 robes, Sivaka, 106, and many other things to the Venerable Sunlun Sayadaw and asked, "My parents had died with wrong view. They did not believe in Buddha. By virtue of my meritorious offerings now, can their view and belief be changed into the right one?" If you share your good merits to them and if they are aware of it and accept with appreciation, they might change their view into the right one, answered the Venerable Sayadaw. Thereupon, U Lokanath shared his merits to his parents. The Venerable Italian bhikkhu then paid obeisance to Sunlun Sayadaw and left the monastery.